Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. Well, we're going to be talking about a little bit about the Donald Trump era of what's going on here because we're still waiting for the actual verdict here. I will be covering as much as I can today, and even if it becomes kind of late where the verdict is even out, I will announce it, even if it's at like 5 o'clock p.m. my time. But granted, if the verdict is around 5 o'clock p.m. this time, it's going to be a bit difficult because I won't be able to have the video out probably around 5:30, 5:45. So try to keep that in mind. What we have here is a bit more information on the actual trial in itself. We have some series of what's going on here, and that being said, there's something that the judge is doing that is very concerning. Something that I can't believe that's going on. Well, I can believe it, but at this point in time, it's just insanity. What we have here from the Daily Caller saying, NBC's senior legal correspondent, Trump's jury has 50 plus pages of instructions to follow, but the jury does not get this in the deliberation room. And it's a quite a hefty amount, so let's go over it.
I got it. These are the instructions that the jury has to follow in Donald Trump's hush money trial before they can reach a verdict. 53 pages. This is complicated. This is lengthy stuff. It took the judge over an hour to read it, but guess what? The jury doesn't get this in the room during deliberations. They have to write questions, they can write notes, but they don't get these instructions. In New York, both parties have to agree and the judge has to agree. And in this case, it didn't happen. They don't have this in the room right now.
So I find that a bit crazy that you don't have jury instructions at all. I mean, even in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, there was jury instructions and a page for the actual thing here. So the fact that the judge is trying every way in his possible power to try to get Trump convicted on these false and horrible charges, that is really insanity to me. This is why we live in a world that is what we call a dystopian, right? Where we just call it a Gestapo. We really have to start thinking about the reality of what's really going on here in the actual courthouse or courtroom, because this is insane. Like, why if it took the judge at least over an hour to read the whole thing, the jury instructions, and then you're not gonna give the jurors these instructions, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, how are you supposed to make the proper thing here? And what we have here as well is that Judge Merchant is rereading instructions about how to evaluate a witness credibility. Judge Merchant is reading back jury instructions on how to evaluate a witness credibility. Under our law, Michael Cohen is an accomplice because there is evidence that he participated in a crime based upon conduct involved in the allegations here against the defendant. Our law is especially concerned about the testimony of an accomplice who implicates another in the commission of a crime, particularly when the accomplice has expressed oral hopes for a benefit in return for his testimony. Jurors took notes when the judge talked about the need for evidence to corroborate with Cohen, was saying given he was considered an accomplice in the case. Testimony from David Pecker would be one of the ways that Cohen's testimony could be corroborated. Now, I'm not going to be saying that the jury instructions is what's going to prevent this biased jury from, getting Trump convicted, but it would be nice to have some type of instructions, right? Because they're obviously confused. They don't know what's doing that. Court staff reads back David Pecker testimony. We have court staff reads Pecker testimony about the Karen McDougal deal. And then we have their court staff reads Pecker testimony about his 2015 meeting at Trump Tower. And then we have jurors pay close attention to read of Pecker's testimony about the Trump Tower meeting. Jury resumes deliberations. And then we have here Trump definitely bothered, but this doesn't really matter. We're not going to deal with this. It says prosecutors can be cautiously optimistic about the jury's questions so far, says expert. Catherine Christian, a former member of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, said she would be cautiously optimistic if she were a member of the team trying this case. In his closing, prosecutor Josh Jingles said the 2015 Trump Tower meeting as the start for the whole catch and kill scheme, which is central to the case. Prosecutors will be happy that the jury wanted to hear that part of David Pecker's evidence, she said. They will also be pleased that the jurors wanted to hear the judge's instructions. So, yeah, the jurors seem confused. It doesn't seem like it's going very well here, because the jurors are at least asking questions, confused. Come on, guys. Like, here we have, just at the very bottom here, that the jurors are Like, juror sends a note to judge this morning, and Judge Merton requested jury instructions. Like, they're confused. They don't know what's going on, and it's all due to the fact here, guys, that they just don't know the actual note. They can't take the jury instructions with them. It's 50 pages. Now, I don't have the greatest memory when it comes down to stuff, right? And normally, when you are looking for a test, this is like taking a test without without actually studying for it, right? Like, you have no idea what's on the test, and you're trying to take this test without without understanding or knowing it. So, put in this perspective, it's like an open book test. Like, it's an open book test, but you're not allowed to have the open book in order to take the test. It's really insane, honestly. And with this, you want the best possible information that can go over with this, because honestly, you want to make sure you do the right thing. I'm not saying that jurors are not going to be non-biased, but what I am saying is that they're confused, they don't know what's going on, and they're asking questions, and they'll probably be constantly asking questions about the credibility, which will make jurors pressure to end this before, because, they don't want to go over the weekend and stuff. So it's really insane on what's going on here. This judge honestly needs to be put in jail for obvious corruption and, violating the laws of everything that's going on. Because even I said here, what we have is that, as a Judge Merchant is violating federal law and even state law of New York City, which this would mean 1112 would have to be at least this amount of people to order to get Trump. This case against Trump is beyond corrupt, and the American people are seeing this. And what we have here is from the Richardson versus United States. The jury must be unanimous as to the series of the underlying offenses in a CCE prosecution. That is, the jury must unanimously agree not only that the defendant committed some continuing series of violations, but also about which specific violations make up that continuing series. And then, if you go down here, which this is by the NewYorkCourts.gov, New York State Unified Court System, this is also by 12, which says, jury verdict. Upon request by the jury, the court, where appropriate, shall give the jury a written copy of the jury charge for use during deliberations. 5 out of 6 jurors must agree on the verdict unless otherwise agreed to by the parties. The verdict will be binding as rendered or limited by a high-low stipulation. So, put it in this perspective, guys, I don't think my audience is stupid enough to understand this, but for the far leftists, that means if there is 12 jurors out there, right? If there's 12, that means you have to at least get 11 out of the 12 jurors to, be mostly unanimous to convict, right? Well, the judge says that you can only get like 4 out of the 12 jurors, 4 out of the 12 jurors to, put on some of these crimes, and he'll now has a full guilty term. That's insanity. Put this in your perspective, right? What if you're in jail, right? Or not in jail, but you're fighting for your life. For, to just not be put in jail. And the judge comes to you and says, oh, by the way, even though your life is on the line, you only have to get 4 out of the actual 12 jurors in order to convict you. So it's not even unanimous people that thinking, oh, well, even though it's not unanimous, you still get put in jail because only 4 people out of the 12, which is not even half, by the way, puts you in jail. That's insanity. That's not how that should ever work. It should always be more than half and the majority of people saying, okay, well, we agreed on this thing. That's not what's happening here. So, again, I think the judge may actually be violating New York City law. He's breaking federal law. So, I think there's some questions to be talking about here on what's really going on in this case. Because, again, I don't see anything good going on. Seems all political, seems all propaganda, seems all just disgusting just to get Trump behind bars, which I think in the end is going to help him anyways. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.